Yeah! Yeah! Make some noise, Oklahoma! Alright, sit down, hurry, sit down. We ain't got time for this, I only got 7 minutes. Alright, as you know, I am Jimmy Brasino, the lead speaker at this location. I just want to say quickly thank you everybody who is tuned in right now all over on YouTube. Thank you for being a part of this. And I just wanted to thank you all so much for taking the time to be here. Unfortunately, we have to talk about something very serious. I'm here to help inform you all about one of the most heinous crimes that are being committed against women in our society today. Jeffrey L. Thomas, former district attorney of Somerset County, Pennsylvania, was charged with rape, indecent and simple assault, strangulation, and criminal trespass. Now, before I go into any further detail about this heinous crime, I need to get you all up to speed on some information. Globally, an estimated 736 million women have been subjected to intimate partner violence, non-partner sexual violence, or both at least once in their life. Calls to helplines have increased fivefold in some countries as rates of reported intimate partner violence increase because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Restricted movement, social isolation, and economic insecurity are increasing women's vulnerability to violence in the home around the world. A woman's right to live free from violence is upheld by the convention or held by international agreements such as the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, in the 1993 UN Declaration on the Elimination of Violence Against Women. That's right, you can clap. To my credibility, not only have I done my extensive research into this very sensitive topic, some of the people most dear to me have been through such traumatic experiences, which is why I have decided to use this platform to help inform our community. Yeah! Because when we are unified, we can make a difference. Thank you. Thank you so much. I just wanted y'all to know that this is a very special moment for all of us to be together, whether it's on your iPhone, or your tablet, or computer. I want to get this message across to you all so that we can make a difference together. An elected county prosecutor in Pennsylvania was recently charged with rape in connection with an attack on a woman in her home. left the residence only after she promised not to call the police. Authorities said Mr. Thomas used Snapchat to message the woman and told her that he would be at her home in a few minutes. She responded that he was not welcome in her home, and he entered by force carrying several cans of beer. He handed her a can of beer, and when he would not leave as she told him to, she slapped him. As a result, Mr. Thomas struck her face, causing her nose to bleed. He then pulled down her sports bra and choked her just before biting her breasts and raping her. Authorities said Mr. Thomas had known the woman for years in a professional capacity and had repeatedly contacted her to initiate a sexual relationship, which she declined. Mr. Thomas had arrived at her house on a previous occasion and walked in uninvited, and would also routinely drive her around her residence. We should ask ourselves, how often does sexual assault happen? Somewhere in America, a woman is raped every 2 minutes. National surveys of adults suggest that between 9 to 32% of women report that they were victims of sexual abuse and or assault during their childhood. 22% of the victims were younger than 12 when they were first raped. 32% were between the ages of 12 and 17. Majority of male and female rape victims knew their perpetrator. Of surveyed college women, 90% of rape and sexual assault victims knew their attacker prior. We all need to ask ourselves, why don't more women report their sexual assaults? Beverly Engel, a psychotherapist and author of more than 20 self-help books, along with a forthcoming book on surviving sexual assault, she said, shame and self-blame are the central reasons why survivors of assault don't report these crimes. Engel told ABC News, victims are often too ashamed to come forward. Sexual assault is a very humiliating and dehumanizing act against someone. The person really feels invaded and defiled, and there is a lot of shame attached to that. She continued, attached to that shame is a lot of self-blame. Victims of sexual assault almost always blame themselves. And we can understand why. Because in our culture, we tend to blame victims in general. We say things like, she shouldn't have been wearing that outfit. Or, why'd she go to that party? We find some reason to blame the victim. In addition to shame and self-blame, many survivors don't report because they fear retaliation or worry that they will not be believed. Lastly, how hard do you think it is for a woman to get her attacker convicted of the heinous crime that was committed against her? In the UK and across the world, rape is notoriously difficult to prosecute. The nature of the crime means that it often comes down to one person's word against another. The changes introduced in 2011 placed more emphasis on police forces identifying and stopping cases before they get to the Crown Prosecution Service if the standard for charges isn't reached. This was intended to save time and money, but critics say that in practice, the police may dismiss cases that could be successfully prosecuted. The United States is bad at prosecuting sexual assault. And when less than 1% of assaults lead to any repercussions, more violent criminals walk free. So I implore you, if you see something, say something. You never know whose life you could save. Thank you. Have a good night.